Welcome back to Faith and Hope. Today we'll be revisiting one of the most brutal moments in human history. After countless hardships, challenges, and relentless efforts, the Crusaders finally captured Jerusalem, the sacred land they had yearned for. But was this victory truly the end of such a grueling journey? The fateful day had arrived when the knights embarked on their mission to avenge their cause. With the flames of vengeance burning intensely, their sharp swords ravaged everything, staining the city red with the blood of over 40,000 Muslim devotees and countless innocent Jews. This was not merely a battle, it was a tragedy for humanity, engraved in history as one of the bloodiest and most horrifying massacres of the Middle Ages. The First Crusade had come to an end, but at the cost of immense sacrifice from thousands of innocent lives. If you're curious and want to understand more about why and how the Crusaders managed to capture the entire city of Jerusalem, please check out our previous videos. The links are in the description below. So what truly happened during those blood-soaked days? How did the First Crusade conclude, and what legacy did it leave on human history? Join Faith and Hope as we dive into the entirety of this tragic tale in today's video. The Crusaders' frenzy of slaughter. After Jerusalem completely fell into the hands of the Crusaders, Muslims desperately sought refuge in their sacred structures, places considered inviolable, such as the Al-Aqsa Mosque, the Dome of the Rock, and the Temple Mount area. However, despite the sanctity of these sites for Muslims, it could not deter the hateful steps of the Crusaders. With a mindset of eternal revenge, they did not hesitate to storm these holy areas, launching brutal attacks and mercilessly hunting down Muslims, even in the solemn sanctum of Solomon's Temple. At Solomon's Temple, the scene of the massacre became more haunting than ever. The blood of innocent people flowed everywhere, pooling into deep crimson puddles, to the extent that a general in the army reportedly waded through pools of blood up to his ankles. The Crusader knights, bodies splattered with blood, continued their rampage, ruthlessly striking down within the temple's very heart, a place that once symbolized peace and faith. According to historical accounts, as many as 10,000 Muslims were killed there, their bodies piled into ghastly mounds, filling the temple with the stench of blood and decay. Women and children were not spared the wrath of the Crusaders. No one was left alive, and the city was engulfed in a horrifying smell of rot. Many scholars recorded that bodies were stacked so high they resembled tragic pyramids, and the actual number of those killed in this massacre seemed beyond count. In despair, some Muslims turned to Christian clerics, hoping for compassion and protection, only to be met with cold refusals. The tragedy did not stop with the Muslims. The Jews in Jerusalem also faced the Crusaders' brutality. Having fought alongside Muslims to defend the city, the Jews became the next target. When the Crusaders broke in, the Jews chose to shelter in their synagogue, ready to face their tragic fate. According to the chronicles of Amin al-Hosseini, the Jews locked the doors of the synagogue, hoping this sacred place would be their final refuge. But the Crusaders, mainly Western European soldiers, were relentless. They surrounded the synagogue and set it ablaze with everyone inside. Another account describes that, as the fierce flames consumed the synagogue, the Crusaders stood around without a hint of mercy. They even sang hymns, offering praises to Christ, honoring him as the light, the leader, and the eternal love. After the horrifying massacre in Jerusalem ended, a new chapter in history began with Godfrey of Bouillon, a crusader of strong faith and admirable humility. Offered the title of King of Jerusalem after the victory, Godfrey declined, not wanting to bear this noble title in the Holy Land he considered to belong to Christ. He felt that, in the place where Christ once wore the painful crown of thorns, he could not wear a crown of gold, a symbol of earthly power. Therefore, Godfrey accepted only the title of Defender of the Holy Sepulchre, a designation symbolizing protection rather than authority. To maintain this spirit of humility, he left the Tower of David, renouncing all power-related titles, and chose to live more in line with a path of devotion. Shortly afterward, Raymond de Toulouse, one of the leaders of the Crusade, embarked on a sacred pilgrimage, hoping to seek redemption and find peace for his soul. Although the battle had ended, its painful legacy remained. Around 40,000 Muslims had lost their lives during those blood-soaked days, and countless Jews met the same tragic fate, their numbers beyond calculation. The city of Jerusalem, once sacred to many faiths, had now become a dark place, haunted by memories of those horrifying days. The massacre in Jerusalem had concluded, yet the pain and grief remained etched in the memories of the survivors. Although the Crusaders had complete control over the city of Jerusalem, their ultimate goal, the Holy Land they so ardently desired, was still not in their grasp. The Holy Land, which is now part of present-day Palestine, remained under the control of the Fatimid dynasty, the sworn enemies of the Crusaders and the newly established Kingdom of Jerusalem. Initially, both sides maintained a fragile peace and began negotiations, hoping to reach an agreement that would allow the Crusaders to take control of the Holy Land without further fighting. However, the Fatimid court was resolute, only agreeing to concede the region of Syria while insisting on retaining control over Palestine and the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, a place considered sacred by Christians. The negotiations quickly reached an impasse, growing tense as neither side was willing to yield. Determined not to lose their hold over Palestine, the Fatimid court ordered a powerful army from Egypt to advance toward Jerusalem with the objective of wiping out the Crusaders. Upon receiving intelligence about the formidable Fatimid forces approaching from North Africa, the Crusaders swiftly went into defensive mode, preparing for the decisive battle to protect the city and the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, the most sacred symbol of the Christian faith. The Crusaders responded with remarkable speed. In just a few short days, key leadership positions were clearly established. Godfrey of Bouillon, known for his humility and exceptional leadership, was appointed to lead the defense of the city. The Tower of David and the sturdy walls of Jerusalem were reinforced, and the Crusader knights were ordered to be battle-ready. On July 26th, when a messenger from the Fatimid court arrived in Jerusalem with a final proposal to avoid conflict, the Crusader leaders decisively rejected it, expelling the envoy from the city and declaring their unwavering resolve to defend Jerusalem at all costs. Once again, the calls to battle echoed through the streets and strongholds of Jerusalem, awakening the steadfast will and latent strength of the Crusaders. The Fatimid court's decision to send an envoy to Jerusalem with a call for surrender became a severe misstep, inadvertently stirring up hatred and fueling the Crusaders' indomitable spirit. Seeing their enemy attempting to make them submit, the Crusader knights became more united and determined than ever, ready to fight to the end to defend Jerusalem and the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. On August 10th, Godfrey of Bouillon led an elite force toward Ascalon, the decisive battleground, where they would face the mighty army of the Fatimid court. The Crusader forces, along with prominent commanders like Robert of Normandy and Raymond of Toulouse, concentrated all their forces toward Ascalon. In the stifling atmosphere of impending war, the resolute steps of the Crusaders resonated like thunder, almost overpowering the sky. Their marching sounded alongside prayers lifted to God, igniting their faith in victory just as they had at the outset of the crusade, strong and unyielding. Meanwhile, back in Jerusalem, Peter the Hermit, leader of the People's Crusade, organized a sacred procession, gathering Catholic and Orthodox clergy at the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. Together they prayed, offering up their hopes that God would protect and grant strength to his warriors. The ceremony concluded with a journey to Mount Zion, a symbol of faith and courage, marking the final preparation for the battle against the powerful Fatimid army from North Africa. At this moment, both the Crusader army and the people of Jerusalem understood that the battle at Ascalon would be the decisive moment for the fate of the Holy Land. A burning fury surged within each Crusader, driving them into the final battle like a fierce tempest, ready to sweep away everything in their path to claim a glorious victory. The Great Battle of Ascalon. In North Africa, the Fatimid court prepared meticulously for the assault on Jerusalem. The Fatimid army, led by General Al-Afdal Shahanshah, numbered an estimated 50,000 soldiers, though some accounts suggest numbers as high as 200,000. The army included troops of Turkish, Arab, Nubian, Ethiopian, and Berber origin. Al-Afdal intended to besiege and annihilate the Crusaders in Jerusalem. Although he lacked siege equipment, he had a large fleet equipped with weapons stationed along the sea near Ascalon. General al-Afdal positioned his forces in the valley on the outskirts of Ascalon, preparing to advance and encircle the Crusaders. However, while he was still envisioning a historic victory, the Crusaders acted decisively. Knowing the Fatimid army's location, the Crusaders formed their forces into 9 battalions. Godfrey of Bouillon commanded the left flank, Raymond of Toulouse the right, and Robert of Flanders and Robert of Normandy led the central force. The Crusader formation was divided into 2 units, an infantry unit in the front and a cavalry unit behind, ready to engage in battle near Ascalon's outskirts. On the battlefield, the Crusaders positioned their forces strategically, with the central battalion in the middle, stretching to the Mediterranean Sea on the right and facing Rafah Gate on the left. The Fatimid forces began to notice the presence of the Crusaders and organized defensive lines in preparation for the decisive battle. As soon as the 2 sides came face to face, the war drums sounded across Ascalon. The great battle had officially begun. According to many historical records, the Great Battle of Ascalon took place under the dramatic cover of night, as the Crusaders launched a surprise attack on the Muslim Fatimid army. Although large in number, the Fatimid forces were caught completely off guard by the ferocious assault. The Crusaders, driven by their unwavering determination and strong faith in God, quickly gained the upper hand, overpowering the Fatimid formation from the very first strikes. Under the moonlight illuminating the battlefield, Crusader knights charged on horseback into the heart of the Fatimid ranks, shattering their defenses and throwing the enemy into utter chaos. Seeing that the situation was beyond salvation, General al-Afdal decided to retreat deeper into the city of Ascalon to fortify his defenses. However, the Crusaders did not let him withdraw easily. With sharp strategic command, Raymond of Toulouse led a wing of the Crusader forces, driving a large contingent of the Fatimid troops toward the sea, isolating them from the main army, which was trying to retreat into Ascalon. The Crusaders' shouts and the clash of weapons echoed through the dark night, symbolizing a fierce and relentless battle. Other Crusader battalions also launched relentless attacks surrounding the Fatimid forces from all directions. The Fatimid army was trapped in a dire situation, losing its ability to coordinate or mount an effective defense. The entire Fatimid force was divided, scattered, and suffered heavy losses, leading to an irreversible defeat. General al-Afdal ultimately had to abandon his honor along with many valuable possessions, quickly boarding a ship to retreat in shame back to North Africa, leaving thousands of soldiers encircled by the Crusaders. In a single, fiery night, the Crusaders successfully crushed the Fatimid force of over 50,000 troops, with an estimated 12,000 Muslim soldiers killed in action. The bloody battle at Ascalon concluded with an absolute victory for the Crusaders. Soon after, reinforcements from the Fatimids were also completely defeated, allowing the Crusaders to solidify their control over Jerusalem and the entire Holy Land. The outcome of the Battle of Ascalon brought peace of mind to thousands of Christian believers. Jerusalem and the Holy Land, where the Holy Sepulchre of Christ is located, were now protected under the Crusader banner. After the Great Battle of Ascalon, with victory secured and their mission seemingly complete, most of the Crusaders returned home to Europe. They left Jerusalem, carrying stories of great battles and the pride of those who defended the Holy Land. Only a few hundred loyal knights remained in Jerusalem, those who chose to stay and continue the mission of safeguarding the city and the newly established Crusader states. Over time, their ranks were gradually strengthened by new waves of Crusaders inspired by the resounding victory of the First Crusade, ready to follow the path of the knights who came before them. The victory of the First Crusade not only established Crusader states like Edessa, Antioch, Tripoli, Palestine, and Syria, but also immortalized the surviving warriors upon their return. They were welcomed as heroes. Robert of Flanders was respected and celebrated as the hero of Jerusalem, while the life of Godfrey of Bouillon, the defender of the Holy Sepulchre, became legendary, forever linked to the First Crusade. The triumph of the Crusade significantly reduced the pressure from Islamic dynasties on the Holy Land. This situation allowed the Byzantine Empire to reclaim some territories and ushered in a period of relative peace and prosperity in the 12th century. The Christian order in the Middle East was reinforced, allowing Christians the freedom to practice their faith during this time. However, the conclusion of the First Crusade was not the beginning of a peaceful Middle East, but the start of a long and bloody conflict between the two major religions. What will the Second Crusade hold, as both sides continue to vie for control over the Holy Land? Remember, this is just the beginning of a long historical journey. Stay tuned with Faith and Hope in the following videos to uncover the developments of the Second Crusade, where conflicts and historical upheavals continue to unfold. What are your thoughts after watching this video? Please leave a comment below. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share so you don't miss more exciting content on our channel. Thank you, and see you in the next videos.